Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. Today I'm going to be doing my February wrap-up of part 2. I have 3 books to talk about in this video, which is less than normal and less than what I really like, to be honest, but it's been a really busy couple of weeks and I'm also getting sick. I don't know if it's going to be noticeable through video and audio, but yeah, I am borderline. No, I have a cold. Let's just be honest. I have a cold right now. But it's not so bad that I'm completely debilitated or anything like that. But yeah, it's just sort of impacting everything. So these days I feel like I've been working during my breaks at work. I've been working on stuff other things, and then I come home and I have more work to do, or I've just been spending time with people, which is very nice. But yeah, not a lot of reading done, so this will probably be a shorter than usual wrap up, but that's okay. So the first book that I have is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. I'm not going to talk too much about this one because I did an entire video review on this that I posted last week, so I will link to that up in the cards. I enjoyed this quite a bit. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I think that if you like The Hate You Give, you'll like this one as well. I do have a handful of quibbles with it that I mentioned in the review video, so you guys can just check that out for full thoughts. Next up, I listened to The Proposal by Jasmine Guillory. This is the second book from her as well. She wrote The Wedding Date, which I read or listened to last year. This one I gave a 3 out of 5 stars to. Jasmine Guillory is one of those writers who I have sort of a love-hate relationship with. I enjoy listening to her books on audio. I think they're really fun romance novels, but there's always certain things about them that really get under my skin. So in this story, you are following this character named Nicole who is dating this actor, and she goes to a Dodgers game with him, and at the very beginning of the book, he ends up proposing to her at the Dodgers game, but she has no interest in marrying him. She doesn't consider this to be a serious relationship at all. They haven't even said I love you to each other really or anything yet. So for her, this sort of comes out of nowhere, but he's doing it at this public event, obviously. And then the other perspective in this book is Carlos, who is at the Dodgers game when this is all sort of going down, and he sees this train wreck happening and can also see that there's a camera crew and everything coming up to where they are, and so he decides to get Nicole out of the situation, and he pretends he's friends with her and gets her out of the stadium and things like that, and they end up basically hitting it off, becoming friends, things like that, and then obviously they start dating. And so the storyline here is that the two of them start dating really casually, and they both from the offset say they just want a casual thing. Neither of them are looking for serious relationships or anything like that. And the conflict here is that they both say this thing, but they also both don't believe that the other one means it, which is such a weird thing to me. One of the things that really bothered me about this book is that chapter after chapter, they would go through the cycle of you're following one character's perspective who's really enjoying the relationship, but then gets worried that the other one is getting too serious. Then they would have a conversation about it, and then you would go to the next chapter with the other character's perspective, and they would start to worry about the other one worrying about it getting too serious and things like that. And it would go through the cycle multiple times, and it was just annoying to me. If anything, what I enjoy about this book is the friendships and things like that in here. The romance is sweet and all that stuff. It is a romance novel, and I did like them as a couple, but overall I feel the friendships are more fun in this book than anything else. So yeah, I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Again, not terrible. It is a fun read, but there were parts of it that really got under my skin. Alright, and the final book that I have finished this month is Homefire by Camilla Shamsi. I feel I am super late to this game because this was everywhere when it came out last year, but I picked this up I think at the end of last year, yeah, in November of last year, and I finally read it and I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. This is a book that I basically devoured in 48 hours because I was really enjoying this book a lot. So the story starts off with you following this character named Isma, who is traveling from London to America to do a graduate program, I think, or something along those lines. She's basically spent her whole life taking care of her 2 younger siblings who are brother and sister twins. Her younger sister is Anika, who is staying in London and going to law school, and then the twin brother is Parviz, who has disappeared following his own dreams, but then you basically find out pretty early on that he has joined a terrorist organization. And this family has been plagued by problems in the past because their father was also detained by Americans, I believe, and sent to Guantanamo Bay. They already went through quite a number of tragic events over the course of their lifetime, and now they're also having to deal with their brother doing things that are impacting them negatively. So while Isma is in the United States, she ends up meeting this boy named Iman. I'm not exactly sure how you say it, and he is the son of like someone who works in the British State Department or something along those lines, and his father is someone who has been like very harsh against like Muslims and immigrants and things like that, and so it creates this sort of like interesting and difficult tension within their family. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book a lot. You follow this book from, I think it's 4 different perspectives, which is typically not a thing I like. If you follow my channel for a while, you will hear me rail against multiple perspective books quite a bit. And I will say that I didn't necessarily love that this was from multiple perspectives, but it did it in the way that I felt works the best, where you get like a chunk from one character, and then the next section is from another character, then the next section is from another character. So it's split into 4 parts, and each part is from a different character's perspective. So you're not like switching around a lot, which is what I don't enjoy. But I will say that the characters that you get at the beginning of the story were my personal favorite perspectives, although I understand also that the way the story progresses, you kind of need to switch perspectives quite a bit. This is a really interesting exploration of family and grief and responsibilities and traditions and all of those different things, and identity and being an immigrant and all of those like big ideas, but also distilled in like a relatively short book. I'm very impressed by this book a lot. I can definitely see like why it won like the Women's Prize for Fiction and why it was on a lot of people's favorites list last year, because this is a very good book. I know that this is supposed to be based off of like Antigone, but I've never read that story, so I can't really say how it compares to that, but I can say just as a story in and of itself, it holds up. So that is everything I have for this video. So in terms of like the goals that I set out for myself for the month, I didn't do a great job at it, but I'm also not that mad at myself, so let me go through it. So one of my goals was to read 2 books off of Book Riot's Best of 2018 list, which I definitely did not do, and I can already tell I don't care about that list anymore. This is why I make quarterly goals. Yeah, like, it's not so much that I don't want to read the books that are on that list, but I could tell that it's not as much of a priority as reading some of the other books. So, for example, I really do want to work on my physical TBR more than anything else, so I've been prioritizing those books quite a bit, especially since I like acquired a number of books this month. So my other goal was to sort of like stay even right at like 60 unread books, which I was able to do until yesterday when I got 4 books in the mail, and then I got another book in the mail today, and so I have 5 books which I'm trying to figure out what to do with. I think I'm gonna keep 2 of them. If I keep all of them, I'm up 5, which is like not even close to my goal. Like, that's so much more than I expected, but I usually don't get this much book mail, or if I do get this much book mail, it's very clearly books that I don't want, so it's very easy for me to not keep them. But this time I got at least 2 books that I want, so that's how I feel. I don't know what I'm going to do. I still have, I guess, technically a couple of days to figure it out, but I know I'm not going to be like at 60 books like I wanted to. So my goal for March, literally just to get my TBR down to under 60. I'm not going to be buying any books in March, so that will definitely help with that, because like this month I went to New Orleans, and so if you follow me on Instagram, you've been seeing like the books I've been acquiring. So yeah, I won't have that problem in March, so hopefully that will help get this number lower. I mean, if I'm being honest with myself, the number I would love to hit by the end of March is 55 unread books, because my quarterly goal was to get to 50, and I know that's not going to happen unless I start purging or suddenly have an immense amount of time and can read a bunch of books. So yeah, my real goal is to get it to under 60, and I'll be happy with that, but it'd be really nice to hit 55 this month at the end of March. I think I'm going to abandon the Book Riot thing for now. Maybe once my unread book number is to a point where I'm happy, I'll pick it back up again. But for now, March, I'm not going to worry about it really. So that is everything I have for this video. Let me know down in the comments below if you've read any of the books that I talked about here and what you thought of them, or if you have any questions about any of the books I talked about, feel free to leave that down in the comments below, or as usual, you are more than welcome to tell me what your favorite read of the month was, because I always just enjoy hearing about what books you guys have been reading. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.